What's up, Ravens fans? It's NFL Draft Week. It's one of the best weeks on the football calendar, and I am here with Clifton Brown and Ryan Mink to break down some of the big topics leading up to the first round on Thursday night. So let's start with this. Let's start trades. There's always lots of discussion and interest in the possibility of the Ravens making a trade. Eric DeCosta has proven over the course of his time as GM he is not afraid to trade draft picks, and he's always looking to wheel and deal on draft night. So Cliff, how likely is it that the Ravens end up taking someone at pick number 22, which is where they're currently sitting in the first round?
I'd give them a 40% chance of staying at 22 and a 60% chance of moving off of that number a little bit down. I don't think they're going to move out of the first round, but as you mentioned, only 5 draft picks. I think that'd be a way for them to get another one. This draft, I'm hearing after like the first 17 players, you can rank them in a lot of orders. So I think the Ravens think they can get a player they want at 26, 27, just as easily as 22. So I think they will trade down.
See, I think they're more likely to stay. I'm going, since you put a percentage on it, I'll go 65% that they stay at number 63.
Okay.
That they stay at number 22. And the reason that I say that is kind of the consensus that you hear and the buzz is that there's about 15, 17 players with first round grades, right? So what team is looking to move up to 22? I think teams drafting 25 to 30 or even early in the second round might say, we're going to get the same quality of player if we stay here as if we move up to 22. So it takes 2 to tango. And I think as much as we all talk about the Ravens love adding more draft picks, the phone has to ring. And I just don't think that a lot of teams are going to be clamoring to get up to the Ravens spot.
And let's just say, for discussion's sake, that 17 is the number of first-round grades that the Ravens have. And we don't know what their board says, but let's just say it's 17. It's certainly very possible, probably likely, that one of those 17 is available to the Ravens at 22. Right. So they could still have somebody that's available to them with a first-round grade at 22. Now, in terms of only having 5 picks, this is not something we've seen with them in recent years. They've been taking a ton of guys in recent drafts. Do you think that they will look to try to add players, whether it's in the first round or over the course of the draft? Do you think that they'll stay with 5 picks, or do you think that they will try to add over the course of the weekend?
Well, I do think they will try to add. I don't think it's a bad thing if they only draft 5 players because the team is deep at a lot of positions. They've had so many draft picks recently that they're not looking for a draft where they have 8 or 9 guys. Would all those players even make the team? Probably not. So to answer your question, yes, I do think they will add one more pick along the way, but it's not going to be a bad feeling if they just stay at 5, as Ryan thinks they will just stay at 22. They can still get quality in this draft over quantity.
Yeah, I think Eric DeCosta is always open to that possibility.
Yeah.
He likes picks, so he's not going to turn down picks, especially if you're sitting at 22. You have multiple wide receivers or multiple cornerbacks or whatever that you like there. I think he'll be saying, all right, I could go back. Let's get this thing to ring. Let's get this phone to ring. He'll be hoping for that. I just don't know that it's going to. But I do think that he would like to add another pick or two if he can.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't see them adding a bunch of picks.
No.
I agree. I think that the over-under, I think, is 6. I don't think they're going to add much.
I don't think they're going back to the second round. I think that to go back, to not have a first-round pick go all the way into the second round, you're probably adding, multiple picks. You're trading back multiple times, potentially. You're moving back 10 spots. That's a pretty big jump. I don't see them not making a first-round pick.
That's good news for Ravens fans who are planning their day around and our draft party that we're having at the stadium. Everyone wants there to be a pick on Thursday night. You don't want to go to sleep without that pick, so Mink says it's going to happen on Thursday. All right, how about the other possibility? We don't talk about this very often, but is there any chance that the Ravens are at 22 and they say, okay, there's a player who's fallen down the board, 18, 19, and they actually go up in this year's draft?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it would have to be somebody who they really didn't think would be there, maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba, somebody like that, who maybe he's still hovering there and hasn't been picked. Maybe a pass rusher like a Nolan Smith who could be a top 10 pick. If he's still there, maybe. But I think the odds are really against them moving up.
Do you agree?
Yeah, they don't have a ton of ammunition to move up. So for me, I think the only way the Ravens pick higher than number 22 is if they make a trade, if they trade one of their current players.
That would make sense. What about the other possibility, and the last thing on trades, is the possibility of bringing in another player from another team. There's kind of lots of different trade talk. Do you trade up? Do you trade back? Do you trade one of your current players? Do you trade for another player from another team.
There's been a lot of smoke, obviously, around DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
It would not be surprising if he moves somewhere, if he got dealt on draft weekend. So that would be one that I would just kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, certainly. It's going to be exciting. I mean, the Ravens, as we saw last year, they ended up trading Hollywood Brown. They've moved all around the board on draft weekend. So I think that there will probably be a trade at some point. When that happens, whether it's a pick or a player, that's hard to predict. But I think the trade probably takes place over the course of the next few days. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.